Peace, peace, peace. What's going on, people? So, someone asked me the other day if the only music I listened to was just 90s hip hop. And to be fair, if I'm not listening to 90s hip hop, I'm still listening to rappers from the 90s. That's just still putting music out. And, I get into conversations with a lot of youngins right now about hip hop. They talking about a lot of these new rappers. I don't want to name drop, but I can name drop Drake because he's under fire right now, so I could jump on him. But why I listen to '90s hip hop? So personally, I started listening to hip hop. I can't really remember the year, but the kind of rappers that I used to listen to was like, I remember there was a dude called YZ who came up with a track thinking of a master plan. There was groups like X Clan. I remember my siblings and I. They used to have this song where he'd be like, "Heed the word of the brother, sissy." There was X Clan. There was Poor Righteous Teachers. But I particularly remember YZ and thinking of the master plan because that was a track that a good friend of mine used to bump a lot. So when I think about the '90s, the one thing that I'd like to point out is how a lot of rappers from the '90s, a lot of New York rappers, was really rapping about some consciousness. A lot of these rappers was like from the 5% Nation. Y'all know about the 5% Nation? Yeah, I know if you from New York or you American, yeah, chances are you know about the 5% Nation. But the 5% Nation was really a spin-off from Nation of Islam. It started out in Harlem, I think in like 1964 by Clarence 13X. And a lot of rappers from the 90s were 5%ers. So if you listen to the music, they use a lot of terminology that 5%ers use. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that terminology and the ebonics in the rap. So you hear rappers talking about peace, God, um, my earth, what's today's mathematics. And if you listen to groups like Wu-Tang, there's always like peace, God, what's today's mathematics, my old earth. Big Daddy Kane, Nas, Busta Rhymes, KRS-One, Rakim, AZ, YZ. I don't know if Cool G Rap was a five a 5%er, but a lot of the rappers from the '90s had this consciousness to that grimy street rap. You know what I mean? Yeah, if you from New York, you know the kind of music I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? My people that be vibing with me, they know I'm into that New York rap, and a lot of it is founded upon these terminologies and these and this ebonics. So it's I'm just basically saying that rappers from the '90s were on some conscious stuff. You know what I mean? They was on some, what's today's mathematics? What's the peace, God? And you know what I mean? If you can read about the 5%ers. I'm not a 5%er, but I know a little bit about the 5%ers. But I'm not gonna stand here and act like I know everything about the 5%ers. So y'all go check it out. But when you listen to a Wu-Tang track, Nas or AZ or Large Professor, you know what I mean? A lot of these rappers was 5%ers, you know what I'm saying? And you can understand how that kind of got into the rap, you know what I mean? Because if you think about Harlem being the epicenter of black culture, you know what I mean? You have people like Langston Hughes coming out of Harlem, but it's not surprising that this culture, because 5%ers don't call it a religion, it's a culture, it's a movement, it's a way of life, sprang from Harlem. and then it's spread out to all the boroughs, you know what I mean? Because all these rappers I'm talking about represent different boroughs, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Smith and Wesson as well. I think they might be um, 5%ers, but you know that thinking spread through the five boroughs of New York. So that became like the main ingredient, you know what I mean? It kind of permeated into like the street language, you know what I mean? And that's kind of missing today. That's missing today, you know what I mean? When I'm listening to rappers today, they on some other stuff that is like ain't no consciousness, you know what I mean? Shout out to Common, you know what I mean? Because I think Common was either a 5% at one time, but you could tell from the terminology how rap today has just straight up started glorifying other stuff that I can't really get into. You know what I mean? 90s rap, you know what I'm saying? I could rock with the consciousness and I could rock with the street. Because, you know what I mean? In truth, most people, most dudes want to be a little street and want to be a little conscious. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like finding that dynamic. So that's why I still listen to 90s hip hop. That's why I still mess with these same groups. I'm still listening to um, Buckshot. I still listen to a lot of the Locks. I don't know if the Locks are 5%, you know what I mean? But they still on some consciousness, you know what I'm saying? If you listen to Styles, Styles is on some real health type stuff. So shout out to all 90s rappers that's just still putting music out there. I'm supporting you, you know what I mean? Shout out to J. Rue. Shout